My father taught me many things here. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
Hey, folks. Thank you for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. Grab yourself a coffee, tea, soda, and or adult libation. And enjoy yourself as me and Dougie Fresh talk about certain things that is gripped into our collective souls. And he may disagree with me with a lot. I hope he does. And he may agree with me with some things. And I hope he does. It matters not, because the fact is, he's a good man, and you guys need to hear his words. With that being said, thank you for coming on Kaiser's Castle. Everybody's got their coffee, tea, soda, and or adult libation as they listen to us, Dougie Fresh. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Outstanding. So, what do you want to kick this show off with and talk about what you're seeing? And I'd love to bounce ideas off you. First off, I'll just put it out like this on the scamdemic. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, honestly, be very clear and pure with it, because if we start getting into the back stuff, I'll just put it on the separate. Instead of it won't be on YouTube. It'll be over there on BitChute and Rumble. Your thoughts, brother?
Right. Well, I mean, the whole thing it feels all funky to me. I mean, there's probably maybe some type of variant of whatever the SARS-2 or whatnot going around, or maybe just a little bit more severe flu than people are normally used to. As far as
I agree.
as far as whatever this, in the beginning where they were scaring the crap out of everybody, Chicken Little, saying like the sky was falling or whatever. That was all, just typical scare tactic bullshit by the government. And I've been screaming to everybody the past, I don't know, 18 months about the NDAA that they passed. Geez, I don't know, was that 2013 or 12? And how it basically allowed them to do propagandizing to us. No one knows about that. You even sit there and start showing them some of these
You're
things.
right.
And it's too much. It's out of the public consumption, and it's designed that way. This is stuff that only autistics look into. People are like obsessed with, their freedoms and whatever, which everyone should be. I mean, what is the only freedom stays around is with eternal vigilance, and you don't get that through just being blasé about what you have as freedom. That's how it goes away.
Oh, I agree. It's like the Star Wars part of the movie when Princess Amidala says this is how freedom, when she became senator, this is how freedom dies. not with a whimper, but with applause.
Yeah, it's people demanding the relinquishment of rights and privileges and decency for the most part. Um, but yeah, perhaps there is something that's going on that's a little bit more serious than, I mean, like we're getting into all this stuff about this lab and over there on the other side of the world, and Fauci's dealings in it, and Gates, and all this other stuff. I'm sure that they were developing some type of, way to make some type of disease be more infiltrative to the human immune system and kill off more people. I mean, global depopulation is within their best interest. There's too many damn people in the world for them to control everybody. I mean, there's too many people just in America, almost just in America, to control us. I mean, that's 300 million. Um, they need less people, and they need people without rights. They need people without privileges,
Well,
without ideas that, like, oh, I need to have a gun because if someone wants to force me to do something, I'll show their brain a light a day.
and also without institutional memory. And think about this. This is something that I believe, I don't know what you believe. I believe it was done to try to eliminate more World War II, Korean War vets. Look, I live in Ohio. I don't know where you live. I don't care. Honestly, Dougie Fresh. We've known each other for a long time. I've never asked you any of that, nor do I care to. Um, but I know that if they would have pulled this shit in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, there was enough World War II vets, there was enough Korean War vets, and Vietnam vets, and then the Gulf War vets. It wouldn't have flown. Even, I did get some buy in, I'm going to be frank with you, after 9/11. I got sunk by that. I know there's truth behind it, but I also know where the fallacies lied. But see, that's the difference. I'm actually able to say I fucked up. It's about, look, leadership demands complete ownership. And it's about, right, if you're wrong, you admit it. And I haven't seen many people in politics or on the general level ever admit they're wrong. I mean, I did when I was younger. No. When I was a young dude, I did, but not now. Your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's definitely a pass the buck mentality going in. It's always going to be the guy before me, or these other people that are blocking me from this, or it's always and we do it even on like the peasant level here. We make excuses up for the things that are in our life, but a lot of times we end up owning up to them after a while, if we start to admit and realize that most of our common denominators of our failings in our life are caused by ourselves. These people, that's not about that though. That's it's like that thing. I forgot what it's called. It's been a long day. I have so much shit in my head. Whatever it is, to where never attribute to incompetence that should be attributed to malfeasance or something like
to
that.
Malice, yes, to malice, and yeah. and that comes from. I mean, most people have never read The Prince, so I know where you've gotten that from, and right. That was Machiavellian, and so I feel you completely on everything you're saying. I think you're correct. But there's also rights for thee, but not, or rights for me, but not for thee.
Oh yeah,
that's the scariest part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely where we've delved into. Well, and I think a lot of people are starting to see that now. I think that one of the positives, quote unquote positives, of this whole lockdown and over encroaching mandates and all this crap I think a lot of people are starting to see the pigs in the farmer's house walking upright in 2 feet wearing farmer's clothes now. They didn't see it before, but now they're seeing that because they go out, they sit there and say, you guys can't do this, and they go out and do it. They say no one can gather around in big gatherings and have a party, and they go out and do it. Everybody has to wear these fucking masks, and then you see them, they're out not wearing them. And it's always been that thing, yeah, like you said, good enough for thee, not for me.
Exactly, brother.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, or whatever.
No, you nailed that on the barrelhead. Now, how has this affected? I'm pissed off for a reason. I'm pissed off because I honestly do know why this was done. It was done to fortify in scare quotes, an election. Anybody who believes, matter of fact, I'm gonna, just because we're recording it like this and I'm about to say what I'm about to say, I'll tell you it's gonna be on Rumble and BitChute. I may put it up on YouTube. It may pull my YouTube channel down. I don't give a fuck. What I do know, yeah, fuck YouTube, exactly. and here's the point, the sword point, is I actually saw, I went to Arizona for a personal reason, and I was able to get to Maricopa County and saw the fraud. And then it was so funny when I was trying to get a hold of people, nobody wanted to, reach out to me because I was gone for weeks, okay? And I get that. They didn't know where I was at. They didn't know what I was doing. The funniest part to me was that a guy told me, bruh, and this is a guy I knew, and some people who are clued in knew, I was doing stuff, and he goes, man, the fraud is so massive. And then I went to New Mexico and saw it there too. So, look, we have an idiot, and I would love to hate him. I mean this. I would love to hate him. I can't. It's elder abuse.
I would understand that if this dude was like, I don't know, some dude that just got in the house there. No, he's been in the government for like 40, 50 some years, dude. He's a piece of shit. It don't matter if he's old. Would you give 90-year-old Hitler a break?
No, I get he's a piece of shit, okay? I get he was a piece of
shit. I understand. I do feel bad
because
dude's mental status is like deteriorating, or they're making it look that way. And I feel for that, but
I don't think he knows what he ate for breakfast. And no, I'm not even joking. I just don't.
I know. I think you're right on that. I think they got him doped up.
Yeah, they've got him on amphetamines and shit, dude. I've seen this game before, and I would love to hate him, but his family, everybody around him, and trust me, I don't think Pelosi's in any better stage, and I don't think Kamala, she's just clueless, she made everything she did on her back. I can't. Now, I do know he had a crime family. Hunter, look, Beau Biden, I will give much respect for. Everything I've ever heard about him, great dude. Have no idea how he turned out to be a great dude, but look, I'm a bastard. And somehow my half Dago and half kraut ass turned out all right. But Beau did too. But for the most part, in my experience as an investigator, as a cop and as an intelligence guy, I always said go 3 generations. The apple never falls far from the tree unless it does. That was a mentor of mine who told me that. There is the anomaly. And I think Beau Biden was the anomaly. But I think the other son who did not pass without saying any names, because, you know, we're in buck fighting in the 21st century.
Yeah.
I think.
Don't you mean go Brandon?
Yeah. No, I like to say buck fighting in the 21st century.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but Go Brandon is the new one. That's the funny one.
Oh, that's the hip one. Okay, see, I'm not hip to the memes, brother. You gotta hit me up.
Oh, well, you didn't see that maybe because I just got hip to it because I'm hardly on Facebook anymore, like because my old account got shut down and whatever, and we'll talk about that too. But yeah, apparently like there was was a NASCAR or something like that, and they were all yelling, you know, fuck him. And the reporter was like, apparently the guy that won the race, his name was Brandon. And they were like, oh, listen to them cheering for you, go Brandon. I shit you not, dude. I mean, you can't make up the stuff that's on the fucking television these days. I almost feel like I'm in an episode of the Twilight Zone, but it's not like really scary. I mean, it's a little scary, but it's more hilarious than anything because it's like, wait, are people not paying attention to this? This is crazy. They literally cannot hear them saying fuck Joe Biden. They hear go Brandon. Oh my god, dude, you got to look it up. You got to find the video. It's fucking hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious. I can believe that because of the fake news. And
right,
it's infected everything. It's infected everything.
I know.
You know, I've watched so much. There was fake news that I saw from back under 45, and I was like, "Well, you stole this, 46." So you own
right,
it now.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucks is, you know, when I tell people about fake news that I know, and this whole time, I mean, these past, you know, 4-6 years or whatever, anytime I spout any kind of conservative view or whatnot, I'm automatically lumped in. I'm an anarchist. I have never voted my whole life. I have never voted since I turned 18. When I turned 18, so this will date me, but George Bush Jr. was up for election, and I was able to vote for him or against him or anything, and I didn't because I was just like, this system don't work. I listened to Mark Twain's words, and he said, you know, if voting mattered, they wouldn't let us do it. And what did FDR said? He said, presidents aren't elected; they're selected. So it's just like this doesn't matter. And I've never voted. I mean, I've seen everything go by, and of course, you know, there's the whole thing. If you don't vote, then you are at the behest of those who do. I understand all that, but if I do vote, then I'm complying with the system that I believe is broken and defunct and not savable. There is no way to fix this system. It needs to be redone all the way. Like I believe they should just take it all the way down to bare bones and then start again. I mean, I'm talking about like every position in the government reevaluated as its efficacy and its its essentialness. If it's an essential job, because my essential job got fucking taken away last year, yeah, I think that a lot of people's quote unquote essential jobs need to be taken away if they're essentially a government job.
Well,
I don't mean like a job that's essential to have. I mean, if the job is essentially government, it is a grifted job, and it shouldn't fucking exist.
Well, I'll say this, brother. Two things I'll point out, and you can disagree with me on both of them.
Yeah.
Because I do actually enjoy that. My first point that I'll put out is that, yes, I came in under Reagan at 17 in the Army. Yeah, I was 17 when I enlisted, brother. I had to have my mother sign me in. And then when I turned 18 in the Army, I had to register for the draft. And I talked to my captain. It was the first time I got salty. I was like, why do I have to register for the draft? Do you not trust that I believe that I'll be here if a war goes off? Because I knew my path from 14. It's the warrior's path. Anyways, that's one thing I'll say. And I never voted for Reagan. But Reagan, I remember back then, I was a punker. And I was pretty much a communist at that point. And I'll never forget it, man. I served under him, and I remember hearing the military saying, man, things have never been better. Okay? And this is in Europa and then on Natick, Alaska. Anyways, then I went into the Marine Corps in '88. And we had Bush W. HW. Sorry.
Senior.
Senior.
Yeah.
And the Gulf War was my first war. We went to war complete and won that one. 100-hour war. But I remember something that really buried a stake in my heart. When I got back, they made no-fly zones over the north and certain places. They didn't do it in the Shia areas. And then in 2005, when I went back to Iraq, as a contractor with SAIC, I saw the truth. And I saw that these dudes, some of them, even Arabic was hard for them to write. So I'd be like, I'd ask them in Arabic, how many of your brothers or cousins or whatever died because I did go to mass graves. And all they could do is write it, They couldn't really articulate. And it was hilarious. I'd see them, and they put crosses over them, like an X over the bodies. And I'm like, cool. All right, I got you. Love you, dude. And these dudes gave so much to me, and I gave so much to them. I was privileged to have met them, but the stake that went through my heart earlier was I'll never forget seeing it live on CNN. Live on CNN back then. And there is the helicopters coming in. They all had one thing to say. We were winning, and America didn't protect us. And so when everybody wants to throw fuck on Biden over this, retrograde. No, I've seen it before. And I've never been so disappointed in my country, but I kept that hidden and down in my soul. And then in 2005, that's really what broke me out. 2005 was when, and then I saw CNN say a false report. When I was on the convoy that happened, there was a Hummer on fire, the wheels were on fire, and the inside was burning. And that's because the Hummer, had a V-bed blow up behind extended bumpers. They had these 3-foot bumpers. And it just made the tires burn. The idiot that caused it, that was the gunner, I even had words with his captain afterwards because of the staff sergeant who caused this. See, this is everything you see. You can find out where it happened if you were there and know. But if you weren't there, they can cover it up easy. And that captain says, well, this, that, and the other. And I said, lock your motherfucking body up. Because at that time, I had the equivalent rank of a colonel, man. And I was like, lock your body up and don't talk to me like that, brother. I'll tell you what's going on right now. You listen to this black racist that said that the good gunner, because he was from Georgia, was a racist. You reduced him from Spec 4 to PFC, and you put that fat piece of shit, dude, I'm telling you, during that whole convoy, none of us felt good in any of the vehicles, because he'd be looking back to behind him with the gun facing directly away from him. That's not what you do. And luckily, but unluckily, the fat fuck still is alive, because last minute he saw, I thought the dude was dead when it blew up. He dropped down in the hatch and survived. That's why he's alive. Your thoughts, bro?
I guess dumb luck, right?
No, I think it's a process. I think it's where we have to see things. Here's the thing about humans that I do believe. We have to see things on the real, not, and I hope with everything going on now that we're starting to see things on the real. I don't know, does that make sense to you at all?
Man, if people can't see it right now, I mean, they must have their heads so far buried in the sand. Or, I don't know, unless they've just bought so much into this establishment being the right way to go, to have it ruling every single part of our life. I mean, I can't see anybody buying into that totally, but brainwashing is effective, man.
Well, that's what the media's been doing for 4 years. They
they've
constantly
been doing that longer. I mean,
oh, I know that, but I'm just saying.
This past 4 years, this definite has been something different that they never did before. I mean, I haven't been watching TV. Like, I stopped watching TV in my mid-20s because I recognized a lot of things about it, especially like after 9/11. They started the 24-hour day news thing. That was like not a thing really before. They had a couple 24-hour day news coverage. What was it for the some hostage crisis? They did like 24-hour coverage. What was it that I want to say it was that hostage crisis with the Olympics or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was before I was born, so
Yeah.
that's it was like so anyhow they did like 24-hour day new coverage for that. Like that was like first time, but like when 9/11 happened, then all of a sudden it was they had news all the time, and then they started doing news tickers all the time along the bottom, always saying things, what's going on in the world. So you're watching one thing and seeing 8 different things going on. And I think it started creating a mania in people's brains to where they like, it was like they needed information, but not like the right information. Not like information that's going to expand your mind, like learning how to do new things. It was like, no, I need to be events. It's like, well, current events are kind of useless to know about because they're only current for that time and then they're gone. I don't know if that sounds ignorant thing, but I don't really give a fuck to watch the news because about 90% of it is stuff I can't do a damn thing about.
Yep.
So if I'm going to sit and fill my head full of this shit that's constantly going on, dude, I'm going to drive myself absolutely nuts. And I see people they're crazy. They watch this news and they act like maniacs. And the people who don't watch news, they're at the park and they're like enjoying life. That are not like losing their absolute minds over this and thinking the sky is falling.
I had a cousin and an aunt who were screaming about January 6th. And I called up just to check on how they were doing. It was after the election, right? Because my aunts and, I'm an old dude. I mean, you're much younger. That's why you dig the memes a little better. And all I was doing was calling to see how you guys are doing, Oh, we got a black woman in the White House. I'm like, okay, that's retarded. And so she just kept going on. That was my cousin. And then I called my aunt and she goes, did you not see what they did in the Congress? And I'm like, yes, I did. But do you know that Rosenberg, I think was her name. It might be Rosenbaum. I can't remember the name. Detonated a bomb in the Senate. Nobody detonated a bomb. And yet, somehow, it's an insurrection. And yet the only person now, with time passing, was killed by somebody from Capitol Police. And yet now Capitol Police, they want to spread all over the country. And the other thing that makes me laugh is, and this says I was a federal cop, bruh. And the other thing that makes me laugh is they're now saying parents who see social engineering through communism, which is CRT. Look, critical race theory is one thing, but you have to remember it all comes from CT, critical theory. And critical theory started out with critical legal theory. And you have people throwing, just like right now, you have idiot out there in George Soros throwing $1 million to try to stop in Texas. It's Austin, Texas, to try to stop a guy that wants to stop CT, critical theory. Within there's a reason why in the cities where it happened, nobody got prosecuted. That's a fact. A fucking fact. They were all funded by Soros, all approved by him, and they became the attorney generals. This is what happened. And it was all done to remove Trump. Trump did nothing more than buy time. And he said it in his rallies, and he said it even afterwards. If they weren't going after me, they'd be going after you. And now they're going after the mothers and the fathers of children.
Yeah.
That are going to school, getting indoctrinated. This is indoctrination. This is Stasi shit. This is fucking Maoism. Nobody's listening. You try to tell them, nobody cares. Your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, totally. I've been seeing, I grew, I graduated from high school in 98. So I actually think I was on the tail end of the last bit of actual education that was coming out of the public schools, as much as that is education. But like the teachers that I had, they were old school teachers. Most of my teachers were near retirement age. So I got the string of teachers that were still actually teaching some things going on. Many of them teaching, a little bit of critical thinking, not critical theory, but actually critical thinking, how to question things and whatnot. They weren't teaching all this bullshit politics that they teach in schools now. Teachers were, I don't know. To me, it was so much different back then. So I can't imagine what it is now with these, excuse me, with these schools now and these parents. I don't have kids. Sometimes that bothers me, but then, the past 2 years, I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine having children now and explaining to them, look, all these people are setting their hair on fire, honey, so you have to wear this mask. Don't worry, the world isn't coming to an end, but don't try and point out that these people are crazy because they don't like being pointed out that they're crazy because they don't think that they're crazy. That would be so hard to raise a child right now, and especially with everything else that goes on with gender identity stuff and the confusion that they're forcing upon children already. Don't need any of that stuff. And so I'm glad I could just count on me keeping my brain sane during all this madness.
I feel what you're saying, but I will tell you that on this level, I'll tell you, no, you need to reproduce because that's what they don't want.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure. I'm just,
and
it's difficult to find a a good woman these days, man.
Oh, I know that. I mean, it's the internet.
Not saying that they're not out there. It's just that, well, especially when you live, well, in the area that I live in, most of the area that I go to, there's a lot of liberalness. And, well, any of the women that I talk to, I would go through maybe, half hour of a date with them, and it would be done. Because my interrogation, I would be like, okay, I found out everything I need to know, and that you're not compatible whatsoever.
Right.
Especially to have children with, like, and have a long time life with somebody and create success. I'm not going to get that with someone who believes that you should kill babies before they're even born. That's plenty of deal breakers along those lines.
Well, when
And
you
for being a man to be concerned about life so much, it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
When you graduated high school, I graduated high school a decade and some earlier, right? And
right.
Here's the funny part about this is I was taught critical thinking too. And yet, there was some communist people putting stuff in my mind. I don't hate them. I understood they were true believers. What I do understand is that my teachers, a teacher is somewhat of a mentor for a bastard that didn't really have a dad. So I respect them. And then one of my teachers, the most influential, we used to call him Count Blackula. It was Reginald Wagstaff out of Westland High School. And it was a joke. And he would laugh at it all the time. And he was married to a white woman. Dude, I dated a black girl all through high school. Didn't give a fuck, and neither did she. The funniest part is that we whipped racism, and unfortunately, with what they're pushing into the schools now, with a fucking big dragon dildo, is racism again. Except they're trying to say we need safe spaces for black people or this, that, and that. What the fuck you mean? We always got along until you started fucking with it. It's communism.
Yeah.
It's Marxism.
Segregation 2.0. It's just it's guised as like you said, safe spacing or whatever. It's like, well, you're just talking about segregation, but with extra steps and everyone's approval.
As we stated earlier, this is how democracy
Liberty
dies without a whimper, but with applause. Yep. I mean, honestly, bro, you take this where you want at this point. You can also pimp anything you want, anybody you listen to, anything that you enjoy, or anything you do. Please pimp it, because I know you have limited time. So please do that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just well, like we were talking about before, this whole scamdemic bullshit, shutting down everything. Well, me, I'm a yoga instructor is one of the many things that I do, and our studios got shut down like in the middle of the health pandemic, which was a very curious thing to me, because one, for just the aspect of gyms and any type of fitness center, working out is pinnacle, exercise is pinnacle to proper health and proper body function of your endocrine system, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, everything. The fact that they shut down fitness centers was like very confusing when McDonald's and Home Depot and Walmart got to stay open. I worked at Home Depot. That place is filthy. I would never use the bathroom there when I worked there. Like, and we didn't wipe down the shelves. You can't. There's too many, and there's dust there. They wiped all the girders down. Did they wipe down the high pressure sodium lights in the rafters? Because when I'm at the yoga studio, we wipe every fucking surface down. And that was before. we had UV filtration systems in our heat systems that ran like any hot air that went into the room, it ran through a UV box. So like that kills like everything. I've been telling people UV light kills everything. It kills you. If you stand in the sun too long, you'll burn to a crisp and you'll die. But like all common sense went out the window for fitness centers to be shut down while fast food stayed open. Like that's where it didn't make sense to me in the beginning. It was just like, well, this place shouldn't be shut down if fast food is still open because that place ain't clean. I mean, Jesus, what do they say that the ice cream machines at McDonald's, like you can, or no, it was the ice machines at McDonald's, like they found fecal matter in some of them that they did tests on. Like, so you can't tell me that the fast food could stay open, but the yoga studio that we clean the top of the door jambs in our daily cleaning has to close. It's insane.
Well,
it was assault on small business, like we were talking about before. It was just a matter of getting rid of ma and pa shops and any place that is owned by not conglomerates, so that they can further purify the economy and get rid of all these people that make their own way, so that eventually they could just tell, all the proletariat, this is the part of the factory you work in today.
It's even worse than that. No, they wanted to get away from the mom and pops so they could set up what they're doing right now. You now have a corporatocracy. And honestly, if you look at, we started the show with Musso's Pizza, Mussolini's Pizza, right? And Mussolini's Pizza, folks, Musso's Pizza, the Axion Ghost, listen to it, and it says nothing more than like mafia shit in the beginning, and it's just music. And you may or may not like it. But Axion Ghost has a lot of other things that is prescient. He always pushes product that's good. Here's what I'll say about this. What did Mussolini, when he started fascism, say about it? It's the joining of corporations and governments. And guess what will squash corporations? If you have competition, where another corporation might get bigger. Think about this. I mean, honestly, America, and I still don't understand how Trump didn't see it coming when everything was going on. Or maybe he did, and maybe they just shut him up and said, oh, no, it's not like that. It's for safety. Look, Benjamin Franklin, I think, is the one who said it.
Yep.
Safety or security.
You get one or the other. You can't have both.
That's right.
And that's security. That's security. That ain't liberty. You're never gonna have liberty with that. If you give up any of that liberty.
Exactly. Liberty.
Any little bit of liberty given up, you don't have the full liberty. You don't have 100%. 99.9999% of liberty is not liberty. It's short.
Liberty is nothing more than you providing your safety. Period.
Yep.
And I found out the other day from Tim Pool. Ohio, did you know this? This will be interesting because I just found it out. Told the ATF, you got no business here. Just like Texas. They're like, get the fuck out.
Really?
Yeah, I hope we get constitutional carry. I hope we become like, honestly, I hope we become like, it starts with M, Montana. Is it Montana? That they build machine guns and suppressors, and if they don't leave the state, ATF can't do shit. I hope we do the same constraints. I hope we do the same constraints to them. Because I've been pushing for a while.
Yes.
Think local.
Yeah.
And run for office if you can, and stay local, and act local, because the federal government's out of hand, and I hope a peaceful divorce happens.
Yeah, the states need to either declare their sovereignty or declare their secession, one or the other.
Well, it's not secession. No, that's not the way. It's a peaceful divorce.
Well, what I'm saying is they need to tell the federal government, look, our sovereignty or we're leaving your ass. And we'll go do something else with the other states that are leaving you as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think a lot of people here, they don't understand that the federal government is in the employ of the country. Like, they're our employees. That's what has been forgotten. Because 200 years ago, when federal employees, people that were voted into, positions of power, when they fucked over the people, they got tarred and feathered. It was funny when when I learned that in school and stuff like that. I always thought it was funny when I was a little kid. I was just like, oh man, they probably were humiliated for the rest of their life. What a fool. I mean, I was a child. I was stupid. I did not think that, yes, they would be humiliated for the rest of their life. Maybe 4 minutes of it until they died from the excruciating pain and trauma of having boiling tar poured on their head. But when I thought that they'd be cleaning tar out of their hair for weeks on end, and everyone would be like, look at that idiot. Ha, that's what you get for fucking us over. Well, but they would be dead.
Well, we can even take it into the revenue era, which the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, alcohol, in the 20s. How many ATF agents ended up in ponds with their cars? You got to understand, man, people were different back then, and it's that old adage. Hard times produce hard men. Soft times produce soft men. I've been fortunate that my son, and trust me, if you disbelieve, well, you know better. You've seen my page. I didn't think my son listened to me at all. My son understood and understands more than I ever knew, and is a better man than I. So that's the whole thing. We're all supposed to move the football just a little bit down the lane.
Yeah.
And then
even like you just said with your own progeny, they're supposed to supplant their parents. They're supposed to do better. They're supposed to go further. And yeah. I mean, good on you and good on your son for doing that. Because a lot of these young people today, they're going down a very, very I don't know, crazy path.
Well, they're trying to change it by making the government father and mother.
Right. Yeah.
My twin sister and I were both bastards. I love my twin. I love my mother. I know everything that happened, and I joked around with my mother when she was living. I said, you bounced off a Dago dick, and all of a sudden me and Jules popped out. She got all the German, the blonde hair, blue eyes. I got all the Dago. But that was a blessing, because I understood as a Sicilian, and as a German, Sicilians do not forgive. Germans do not forget. And that's something that's very powerful. And, there's something about institutional memory. And I think it's bred into us. I don't know how to explain it any other way than that. because you know what's right, you know what's wrong. And as long as you do what's right, every day, you and I both, Dougie Fresh, we go through a battle with ourselves. And that battle has to be won by the better you. What do you think about that? Because you are, in my opinion, we've talked so many times, very holistic in your approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. What I would say to a lot of my students when I teach them, especially when we're coming into, like the yoga practice, there's no competitive nature to it. It's not trying to do better than anyone else. If anything, you are trying to do better for yourself, do better than yourself, than what you were, a half hour ago, or 3 weeks ago when you started, or 2 years ago when you thought about it. I think it was Ernest Hemingway said, true nobility is being superior to one's former self, or something like that. And that's basically what I look along the lines of. Like, you could compete with every single person in the world, and you're going to find yourself always someone who is got more than you, more strength, more speed, more money, more, good looks or whatever. But yourself is the one that can change, but like you can better every single time. If you catch what I mean on that.
Yeah, I do. And I know my next road trip. My next road trip's going to be me and you going down to Sloppy Joe's at Hemingway's bar, getting a t-shirt, and you and I are going to hang out down there in Florida, having a good time, talking about shit and Hemingway, because it'll probably disturb you, but Hemingway was a hero, and so was Teddy Roosevelt, which I know was a progressive, both of them. But see, I'm a classical liberal. I'm not a progressive.
Right.
And
well, our forefathers were classic liberals. That's
yes.
That's place got to be. I mean, they believed that we should have so much freedom that it was fucking sickening.
Exactly.
And then we went ahead and lost it.
No, we gave it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we gave it up. Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate.
Well, that's why I said back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they didn't dare pull this shit because there were so many people that knew what communism was. Yeah. And then they had to do it once the wall fell down.
Yeah, they definitely.
I remember when the wall fell down in 89 on November 9th, my birthday. And November 9th, the 9th of Av in Latin, has had many historic events. And Kristallnacht, I mean, we can go down the list, And the birth of me and my twin, I think, was done for a reason, to where we were trying. She became a nurse, and I do what I do. And we're polar opposites, but we balance. I don't like to be, but I can be just to the right of Genghis Khan. And trust me, man, but I still have a sympathetic heart because, honestly, I started reading. Everybody will talk shit about this, but it's true. If people actually look into it, I started reading people that were back in the day, and Stoicism, everybody's like, oh, he's stoic, he doesn't talk. No, Stoicism means you're open to everything, you're talking, It was classical liberalism before it was classical liberalism. Your thoughts, man? Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't know what it is that you read, so.
Well, just different writings, you know. So I post them a lot on my page, so you've seen them. Don't want to get into all the names, but you know who they are.
Right on.
It's, you know, it's the old Adamant song. The Greek, the Gypsy, the Italian, and a Pole took a look around. You probably don't know that. That was his first album. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm not hip to that yet.
Well, check out Adam Ant's first album. You'll find it. Anyways, brother, I know you got to go. Unless you don't.
Yeah, I got to get to. No, I got to get to going to bed. I got to get up early to go work at the yoga studio.
Cool. Well, at least you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate that I still have something. It sucks. I was teaching like about 15 times a week, and now I'm teaching twice a week. So that, if that gives you a good idea of how much the industry's kind of like been impacted. So.
Oh, it does. It does. Look, here's what I'll say. I'm nothing more than, an old Sicilian, living his last days and laughing. Honestly, I have to laugh over this because I'd cry.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even Chaplin said, "Life's a tragedy in a short shot, but in the long shot, it's a comedy." So.
Well, I think our children will surprise us at one time. Because I know Gen Z, if you were to have kids with a beautiful woman, your kids would be awesome. And that's the thing. I've always tried to tell people, man, find your mate. And I know people, if they're atheist or whatever, don't want to go in. The church is not going to fall in on you. Go to a church. Go, bars, it's girls are riding the fucking cock. They're
oh yeah, nothing good ever comes out of a bar. That's what I was always told.
Yeah.
And I don't drink anymore, so I would stay away from a bar anyways.
Well, but you can find them in a church and in a studio.
Yeah, for sure.
You can find them everywhere else. And that's my two thoughts. So, you're a good man, and I thank you for coming on Dougie Fresh, because
thanks for having me on, man. I'd be interested to come on in the future as well.
Awesome. I always thought we'd do a good show together, and it'd be succinct.
I hope
to
so.
the point. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think this was a good show that aired out a lot of bullshit. And anyways, with that being said, folks, thank you for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. Grab your coffee, tea, soda, and or adult libation as you slowly meander on out, and I will raise the drawbridge as you exit. With that being said, shuff out.